Hello everyone, I'm Earl from Virginia. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be about apple cider vinegar and how to restore rusty relics and to preserve them for quality displays in the relic cases. And this is some of the examples of what we're going to go through today. As always, like, comment, and share. And hope you enjoy the show today. It's going to be a DIY, the entire process of how to get rid of the rust and how to preserve it and how to coat it. Alright, this is Earl. Thanks. Hey guys, this is Earl from Virginia. Thought I'd do a short vid on an alternative to electrolysis for treating rusted metal fines. And I'll give credit to Green Mountain Metal Detecting. He recently did a vid where he did a lock plate for a colonial pistol, and he used vinegar and used super blue and boiled linseed oil, which we're going to give a try at. And also I use Gimplers. I can probably do part of this. I'm going to try. I got two stirrups. I got a stirrup from one site. It's a fairly small one. It's probably a lady's. Well, there was 3 ladies. It was associated to a buckwheat mill. It's a fairly small stirrup. It's in pretty decent shape, so it shouldn't take too much to clean it up. But we're going to do the apple cider vinegar on it. We're going to do this big old loop ring, and it's not too bad either. I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of that was. It was found within 20 feet of the mill as well. And then so we're going to put them in these. In this Rubbermaid container, and then this handle, some sort of iron handle. But we're going to clean it up anyway. So I got those 3 pieces from one site, and then we got a stirrup from another site, and this one's pretty heavily encrusted, and it's flaking off right and left, and you can hear it falling off right now. We're going to do this one too as well, and it does have a break. You can see at the bottom there it's got a break in it, but it should clean up fairly decent. And then also got another ring off that site that I dug the second stirrup, and it's in various degree as well, decay, and we're going to try it as well. We're going to try the apple cider vinegar, and we're going to soak it. It's probably going to take quite a while to do this, probably a week, maybe more than a week. I've played around with some others already. It depends on, actually it seems like it depends on the quality of the iron. But we'll give it a shot, and basically all we're going to do is pour in our vinegar, and then once we get all that done, all of my tools I'm just basically going to use is just my wife's pink hammer to beat the incrustations on the edges and stuff like that. Just tap 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 to get the loose stuff off after the vinegar starts working. And then we'll use a wire brush. And that's pretty much all I'm going to use to clean with, and then we'll rinse it down really good, and then we'll dry it, and then we'll treat it, and those will be the next installments. Alright, so I got my fines in my solution. I basically had to use a bottle and about 2/3. I think the bottles are 32 fluid ounces, 1 quart, so about 1 quart and 2/3 for this container, Rubbermaid container, and that way I got everything fully submerged. And I actually threw in a couple extra pieces I had. I'm not going to dig them out right now. One's part of a small axe, and the other one's part of, I think, of a wedge down here in the corner. They've been soaking already, but I'm going to throw them in this box as well. Like I said, once we get everything cleaned up, dried, then we'll probably do some with the Gimplers. I've used it before and I like it a lot, but I'm going to try the Green Mountain Metal Detector. He used this super blue gum glue and some boiled linseed oil on his lock plate. I might do both the stirrups in that, just because of the fact I kind of liked the way it looked, the end result. So we might mix things up a little bit and do a little bit of both. I'm back with some more of the apple cider vinegar treatment on my iron relics. Here's the pile that I'm cleaning. What's cleaning fairly well so far. It's only been in 2 days. These items here, the 2 stirrups, the 2 round rings, and the pull is some type. Doing pretty good except for the small ring. I got some. There's definitely some flaking, and it's going to probably jeopardize this piece. It has nothing to do with the process, but just in part of the cleaning what has already been damaged from the rust. It's a little bit more than what I expected, but basically it's just a ring. It's not compared to like the 2 stirrups. This pull still got a lot of little chattery, small chunky pieces on it. But basically all I've done so far, rinsed the items off. I took my hammer and tapped the, just tap, 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 tap. Same way here, tap, 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 tap. And you can hear the difference in the iron. The hollow sounding stuff is where you get flaking or buildup, and it taps off. It gets soft in this cleaning process, and basically just crumbles right off. And when you get into good iron, the good steel or good iron, whatever you want to use term, it sounds more like, you know, more like hitting iron, more solid. Doesn't sound hollow, or you can tell it's good solid metal. So basically tapped the 2 stirrups. I tapped this, and I tapped the 2 rings, and that's where we're at. So I rinsed them off, and I'm gonna go back in. They've only been in 2 days, so the second stirrup, which I said wasn't too bad off to begin with, it's cleaning up really well. But I'm hoping, just maybe, I might get a date off this stirrup, particularly at the bottom, if it is dated. We'll find out when we get there. But that stirrup's cleaning up well. I still got some build-up in the corners on this stirrup to get. A little bit here, a little bit there. Like I said, this corner here and this corner here were broken from the dozer. There we are. I'll keep you up to date on the progress. So basically all I've done so far is tap the dead spots on the rust buildup, and then I took a fairly small wire brush and just did a quick brush off to get the flakes off. You see still as it dries, more of it's still falling off. But I'll probably let it sit another 3 days, and then we'll do another follow-up.
It's been about 2 months since the last time I filmed. I want to get back to the apple cider vinegar iron restoration. And here's my bath. It's been 2 months, to be honest. When I pull all this stuff out in a minute, there's only been a couple pieces that needed that much time. There was the 1 stirrup, the 1 stirrup, and the basically most of the stuff would have been done in 2 weeks, but since I had to let the others sit, I went ahead and let them sit as well. I just left everything in there. What I didn't film entirely was I used this brush, just a wire brush. It's basically what I do is just scrub my relic, rinse it off and scrub it, and then I put it back in the bath. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm pretty much done with the cleaning, or the rust removal process, and now I need to get to the cleaning, rinsing, drying, and then treating it. So I'm going to show you real quick what I got, and we'll go from there. And the initial, if you look at these, yeah, this is in view. If you look at this, you'll notice well, a lot of that's apple cider vinegar coming off, but you'll notice the dark patina it's got right now, which is a lot like what you see when you do electrolysis. But what's going to be really cool is what you're going to see here in a second. So right now I'm just going to throw in the bath. This is the other stirrup. Same thing. You'll see how dark this thing is, which is typically the way they come out of when you do the electrolysis. And most of that will not come off. But what you're going to be amazed of here in a second is what happens with this apple cider vinegar. And that's the 1 big ring. That's the 1 small ring. This is the one that probably didn't preserve very well, but the condition of this harness ring was pretty sad to begin with, so all in all, I am kind of happy with it. This is the small camp axe. This is another piece. Pretty sure this is a tool. I'm not sure what. You can see where it's broke off here. But you're going to be amazed here in a second. That's a piece of basically it's just a piece of furniture trim, I think, like a cabinet trim. I'm gonna put this aside. I'm gonna basically show you I'm gonna take this camp axe. Let me see if you're in frame. Alright. If it had some stubborn stains like it did on the inside here, I might have scrubbed them a little bit longer. But basically just give them a scrub down. And you're gonna be amazed. Like I said, with the electrolysis, that thing would have been black. But look at this thing. It is basically, I don't know if the camera's going to do any justice, but this thing is basically right back to a silver, almost to like it was when it's brand new. Now the process I'm going to use for treating this is going to be with gun barrel bluing, and I think it's boiled linseed oil. I'm going to do that with the tools and the 2 stirrups, and then the 2 O-rings and the little furniture piece. I'm going to use Gimplers because the fact that there's still a little bit of decay in those items. But this is amazing. This is the D-ring. And this is basically the process I did when I cleaned it. I just basically scrubbed them down. Nothing fancy. Just came and scrubbed down. If I had to, there's little, if there's blisters on it, little rust blisters, I just basically took this plastic handle and I tapped them like that, and the blisters would pop off, most of them. There was a little bit on the one spur or stirrup that I did have to take a small stone and a Dremel to try to get the very final piece out. It wasn't much though, to be honest. And other than that, I simply used this brush, and I pretty much use this brush, this wire brush, to do all the cleaning. And there's actually some, I don't know, some silver in pockets. I don't know if it's silver wash or what. I never noticed that before in the earlier cleanings. Alright, I do notice there's just a tiny bit of rust right there in that corner, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. I don't know if that's, those didn't show up earlier, so I don't know if that's where I hit it digging it, or if it's actually got some silver wash on it after all this clean is finally popping out, which is probably what's going on. But that's the D-ring. It's got pretty good patina to it too. This is that iron tool part. Look at this thing, man. I'm amazed. It looks like actual raw steel, or raw iron. The D-ring, or not the D-ring, the big oval ring. This came from the Buckwing Mill site, where Bo and them just did a video. It was right in behind the mill, right in the corner of the sleuth. But you can see the forging of the steel. This thing is just amazing how this one came out. It does have I mean, it's got a deep dark gray look, but it doesn't have that burnt look that you get for metal electrolysis when you do electrolysis. And to be honest, I'm amazed how much rust this apple cider vinegar pretty much takes all the rust off. In all reality, I'm happy with the results, and I'll have to use Gimplers on this one to try to keep it from just totally falling apart later. Gimplers kind of has this bonding effect, and I'm going to use that on this piece. But if you look, there's the original core. There's still some blistering out in here, but basically if I keep treating this thing, it's just going to be nothing left of it. It's like that. You can just pick the pickers off, and if I keep working on it, it just won't be practically nothing left of it. It'll just fall apart, especially down in here. But all in all, I'm going to leave this one as it is. You can still see the strands from where it was hand forged. And I'll treat that with Gimplers and it'll turn out just fine. I mean, look at this thing. This is basically a child's or lady spur. This thing's very small. Look, as you can see my hand. There's no way my foot was going to go. It would barely go in there. But this is pretty much a child's or lady's stirrup. And there was a couple ladies that worked at this mill. Or at least were owners or part owners in this mill. I got a feeling they worked there as well. But this thing, I was looking for markings. I haven't found any markings on it yet. But look at this, man. Look at the detail on the stirrup. It's amazing, the condition. There's a little bit right there. But all in all, this thing is totally rust free and back to the original iron. That's pretty much it. Here's this stirrup. Again, that was the original brake from the dozer that when I found it. There's some black there. That stuff is just stubborn as all heck. It is not coming off, and it's not going to jeopardize my end results. There's a little bit there. That was the places why I left this thing in for 2 months, was this bottom piece down here. It was in there, and then these corners really bad. And the corners came out pretty decent. But look at the quality. Look at the back of the steel. How shiny this thing is. The quality. No more rust. No more deep pitting. Just totally awesome. Alright. That's it for now. I'm going to rinse these off and baking them. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to dump my water. I'm going to dump that water. I'm going to stabilize my iron. I'm going to put some baking soda in here. I'm going to make hot water, baking soda. Just let it sit for an hour or two. And then I'm going to put it in the oven for about an hour and a half. Maybe 2 hours at 180. And then we'll get to the next part. Alright guys, this is the next steps. Basically I mixed some water with baking soda. I soaked my Relics overnight for like 24 hours. And I'm going to dump the water. I'm going to rinse these off and give them a quick brushing, just the nylon brush. Then I'm going to put them in the oven, in that pan. And I put it in there for about 2 hours. I got it set on bake for about 300 degrees. And then the next step will be putting on a finish. Alright guys, I'm going to let them cook about 2 hours at 300 degrees. And the purpose of that is to dry out the metal. Bake at 300. Dry process done. As you can see, there's a little bit of flash off rust, which is just air drying time, drying out the parts. So I'm going to do them a quick. I'm going to do a quick brushing with the wire brush. That should be it. I took some Gimplers, poured it in a little container, and I might end up doing everything in Gimplers. This flash rust is bothering me a little bit as far as the bluing, but we're going to try this. Basically, here's what, just going to put a coat on. Coat it pretty good. Gimplers will start doing its work. Should turn, if it's still good, because I've had it over the winter, should start turning my part black here, grayish, bluish, grayish, black here in a few minutes. It doesn't work exactly right off the bat, but it will in a few minutes. This stuff dries pretty quick. So do that. I can use the bluing. I'm gonna give it a shot. I wasn't going to, but I'm going to. All right. I'm just going to put it on pretty liberally. That's it for now. I had an epic fail during the bluing process, and I'll show you real quick, and then I'll tell you what I think happened. What probably happened. All right. As you can tell, see how rusty these parts are? I blued these, and what I did. These are my 2 stirrups, and they're just covered in rust instead of being dark. So I had the 2 spurs and the 2 tools. And all was not lost. I was able to take the wire brush them back down, and then I went ahead and just did the gimplers on them in a panic mode because I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to repair what happened, but I am. But all in all, I still got good hopes for this turning out great with the bluing agent, which is over here, which is the Super Blue liquid gun blue. Here's what. All right, this piece is section is just to clarify the Super Blue bluing agent, or liquid blue gun blue. And I told you I had an epic fail, so when we left I had an epic fail and I had to recorrect. So just to correct it, I finally got things fixed. And here's my 2 stirrups. These are the ones that I used the gun blue on. So as you can tell, they turned out pretty decent. And I'm going to tell you the process really quick and what went wrong. What basically went wrong was, after researching YouTube, I found out that the gun blue is more of a quick saturation and then neutralized and then coat with oil. What I didn't do was I never neutralized it. Neutralize it is dipping it in cold water. Ideally, you would like smaller parts like this, and you want to put them in a container where you can fully submerge it for 20 seconds. Then you take it out while it's still wet and immediately put it in the water. And then once you put it in the water, you dry it, towel it off, and if you want to repeat the process to make it darker, then you just do the same thing again. You saturate it for 20 seconds. It's still wet. Immediately put it into the water after 20 seconds. Take it out, dry it off, and keep repeating it until you get it how dark you want it. Once you get it to the darkness you got at, don't waste time and immediately put on a rust preventer, which is, in my case, was boiled linseed oil. So the process again is dip wet for 20 seconds or submerge, remove it, dip it in cold water tank, take it out and dry it, and then apply your boiled linseed oil. The last step I did on the 2 stirrups, and I'll try to, I didn't want to have to come back every year and put on more oil. So what I ended up doing is what I've used before, some Relics, is what this stuff is called, I call Bree Wax or Bree Wax. What I basically did was just open the can. It's like a paste wax, but it's a little bit more, it turns the liquid a lot quicker. So I just basically just had some gloves on, put it in my hand, and actually just rubbed it into the Relic Fine. And it will turn to liquid, and then after it turns to liquid, it kind of absorbs into the item that you're applying it to. So for this spur here, this has got the bluing agent on it. Then it's got I did a 24-hour overnight soak complete bath. I basically filled up a bowl and submerged it into the boiled linseed oil. I then took it out and paper towel dried it, and then I just hand rubbed in the Breeze Wax, and that's the total process. So I needed to clarify that because I had an epic fail yesterday and just wanted to get to the process after I looked at YouTube. And the guy that I had the good channel about the process, he did say if you don't dip it immediately, you're going to have rust. And literally it happens within a minute. It starts happening within a minute or quicker. So the key is don't let your relic or whatever you're coating, don't let it dry out at all. you want to keep it wet, and then immediately after 20 seconds soak, put it into the water. Alright, that's it. Enjoy the video. I hope it gives you an alternative to electrolysis, which I use as well. I don't quite like I like electrolysis, but I don't like, even though it's kind of funny, it's ironic, even though you're looking for a dark finish at the end, at least I do, I don't like how electrolysis leaves it dark once you get through that process. The apple cider vinegar, it looks like raw steel once you get through the cleaning process, whereas electrolysis, it looks like this black when you get done through that process. So it's either black versus raw steel, and it gives you a couple other options like the bluing agent to put on your product. I also used, for the 2 stirrups, I used the bluing agent, and for Jenna, can you focus over here? For these other items, which is a couple rings and a D-ring and a tool of some sort, a camp axe, and an ornate furniture piece. What I used for them was the Gimplers, and I do like that. And if you look at side by side, there's pretty much no difference in the lightness darkness. The only thing you really see a difference is there's a little bit more sheen with the Gimplers versus a duller finish with the bluing agent and the oil and the wax. So all in all, there's really no difference. This is slightly yellowish, bluish yellowish. They're both dark, both look like natural colors, just a slight more gloss and a little less luster. So like a semi-gloss and a gloss. That's your finish. That's your differences. I like them both, and I'll probably keep doing both somewhere along the way, depending on what the item is or what the relic is. All right, thank you all.